Here are the video solutions for AQA Functional Skills Maths Level 2. This is paper 1 from January 2023 and this is the non-calculator section. So question number 1, round 2356 to the nearest 500. Okay, bit of an unusual one. Normally you round it to the nearest 1000 or 100 or 10. Now if we think of the 500 times table, we've got 500, 1000, 1500, 2000, 2500, 3000. So 2356 sits between 2000 and 2500. Okay, so 2356. Right, which number is it close to? Well, what's halfway between 2000 and 2500? That's 2250. So since 2356 is on this side of 2250, if I'm rounding it to the nearest 500, it will round to 2500 because it's past the halfway mark. Okay, question number 2, work out the value of 3/10 and 1/100th as a decimal. Well, 3/10 is 0.3 as a decimal, 1/100th is 0.01. So the question is just to add 0.3 plus 0.01 together, and we get 0.31, and that's the second answer. Okay, so share 192 in the ratio of 5 to 1. So in total there are 6 parts to the ratio. So let's work out what one part is by dividing 192 by 6. 1 divided by 6 can't be done, move the 1 across. 19 divided by 6 is 3 with a remainder of 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So 1 share is 32. So this part here will correspond to 32, but we need to work out what the 5 is. So that's going to be 5 lots of 32, or 32 times 5. 2 5s are 10, carry 1. 3 5s are 15, plus 1 is 16. So that will be 160 to 32. And just double check, do they add together to get 192? Yes, they do. So 160 to 32. Make sure you've got it the correct way round, so the bigger number is on the left, not on the right. Question number 4, this is testing our understanding of BIDMAS. B for brackets, there are no brackets. I for indices, well, we do have indices, so 4 squared, that is 4 times by 4, which is 16. So the question is now 7 plus 3 times 16. We have adding and we have multiplying, so multiplying comes first. 3 16s, 48. If you play darts, you should know that one quite well. So that's 7 plus 48, and 7 plus 48 is, of course, 55. So that is the final answer. Okay, the exterior angle of a polygon is 72 degrees. Work out the interior angle. Okay, so here is a polygon. Now this here is the exterior angle, and this is the interior angle. Now they are on a straight line, so they add up to 180 degrees. So our calculation is 180 degrees, take away 72 degrees, and hopefully, well, maybe you do need to write it out in full. 0 take away 2 can't be done, so 8 becomes 7, 0 becomes 10, 10 minus 2 is 8, 7 minus 7 is 0, 1 minus nothing is 1, so the answer is 108 degrees. Okay, and that is the end of section A. Okay, here are the video solutions for section B. So question 6 is all about cheese. So Jana says that she made more than 4 kilos of cheese on Tuesday. Okay, well, we know what she made in the morning, we know what she made in the afternoon, so all we need to do is simply add together 2 7/8 and 1 1/4. So what I would do here, first of all, is I'd add together the whole numbers. 2 plus 1 is 3, so I've got 3 7/8 plus 1/4. I could write that as 3 plus 7/8 plus 1/4. Now, we can't add eighths and quarters because the denominators or the numbers on the bottom are different, but I can turn quarters into eighths. Now 1 over 4 is the same as 2 out of 8. So I'm going to change the 1 over 4 into 2 out of 8. So that is the same as 3 plus 7/8 plus 2/8. And 3 plus 7/8 plus 2/8, or 7/8 plus 2/8 is 9/8. So that's 3 plus 9/8. Now 9/8 is an improper fraction. The number on the top is bigger than the number on the bottom, so I'm going to convert that back into mixed number. I can't write 3 and 9/8. Now 9/8 is 1 and 1/8, so that's 3 plus 1 plus 1/8. So 9/8 is 1 and 1/8 because 9 divided by 8 is 1 with a remainder of 1. So that remainder of 1 will be written as 1/8. And 3 plus 1 is 4, so that's 4 plus 1/8. So the final answer is 4 and 1/8, and that is of course greater than 4. So Jana is correct. So let's just write here, Jana is correct. Okay, on to part B. Okay, so what we want to know is the distance that it travels when it does a full revolution. So this is going to be the circumference of this circle, for which the formula is pi times the diameter. So pi, we've been told, is 3.14. The diameter has been given, that's 1.5. And 3.14 times by 1.5 is 4.71 meters. So that means it's this distance all the way around here. That is 4.71 meters. And it does a full revolution, so this part of the paddle will do 4.71 meters. Is it meters or is it centimeters? No, it's meters. And that's every 5 seconds. So it completes that distance in 5 seconds. Now the speed is the distance divided by the time. So the speed is going to be the distance, which is 4.71, divided by the time, which is 5 seconds. And 4.71 divided by 5 is 0.942 meters per second. Okay, so here we've got a two-way table. So we know that 75% are strong. So what is 75% of 120? Well, first of all, I would see 75% as 3/4. Much easier to do 3/4 of 120. So for these calculations, when you're working out a fraction of a total, you take your total, you divide by the number on the bottom, and then multiply by the number on the top. So what is 120 divided by 4? Well, 12 by 4 is 3. So 120 divided by 4 is 30, and 30 times by 3 is 90. So we know that there are 90 strong pieces in total. So I'm going to put 90 there. 1/3 are soft. So here we just want to work out 1/3 of 120. So that's simply 120 divided by 3, which is 40. Okay. Now already we can we want to know the probability that the piece is mild and soft. So we need to work out, well, what's the missing number here? Now on the strong line, well, row, I know that there are a certain number soft, 57 hard, and 90 in total. So the total soft is 90, take away 57, which is 33. So soft and strong is 33. Now, if the total that are soft are 40, and 33 of them are strong, then the remainder must be mild, and 40 take away 33 is 7. So we know that 7 are mild, and that is 7 out of 120, and that is the was it the probability thereafter? Yeah, that is the probability, 7 out of 120, and that is the end of this section. This is paper 2 from January 2023, and this is the calculator section. Okay, question number 1. Here's a solid made from 4 cubes. Circle the plan view. So the plan view is the view from above. So if you're looking at this shape from above, you will see this square here, and this square here. Now these 3 squares will be in a line, so that is answer 2. Write the number 2307049 in words. So what I would suggest doing is from the right hand side, after every 3, put in a comma. So a comma between the 7 and the 0, and a comma between the 2 and the 3. Now this comma here represents the word thousand. This comma here represents million. So now it's easy. We can write 2, comma, which is the million. 307, so that is 307. Followed by the next comma, so 307,000. And what have you got after that? 49. And 49. Job done. Question number 3. Okay, so for this question, what I would do is, what is the difference between 0.5 and 0.379? So 0.5 take away 0.379 is 0.121. And the difference between 0.614 and 0.5, probably always a good idea to subtract the smaller from the larger one here. So 0.614 take away 0.5 is 0.114. Okay, so we can see that there is this number here is larger. Well, I should say this gap is smaller for the 0.114 is less than 0.121. Therefore, the gap between 0.5 and 0.614 is less than the gap between 0.5 and 0.379. So therefore 0.5 is closer to 0.614. Okay, question number 4. We're using the formula 4 pi r squared. So that is 4 multiplied by pi multiplied by the radius squared. So 2.3 times 2.3. And for pi, I'll use 3.14. And what does that come to? That comes to 66.4424, and this is an area, so it's going to be centimetres squared. Okay, so question number 5, we want to write down the coordinates of C, which is the midpoint of this line. Now, you may be able to just eyeball it and work out where it is, but let's just write down the coordinates of B and A. So B is 3 along and 3 up, so 3, 3, and A is -3, -1. So the midpoint is going to be, well, what's halfway between 3 and -3? The midpoint of 3 and -3 is 0. And what's the midpoint of 3 and -1? Well, if you're not sure, combine the numbers together. 3 minus 1 is 2, and what's half of 2? 1. So the midpoint is 0, 1, and we want to plot C on that. So 0 across 1 up, there we go. So there is C. Okay, and the coordinate was 0, 1. Okay, so to work out an estimated mean, what we need to do is multiply the frequencies by the midpoint. So F multiplied by MP. So 7 tens are 70, 9 times 30 is 270, 4 45s are 180, and we want to add up these subtotals here, and that comes to 520. Okay, so all we need to do now is take the total of the frequency times the midpoint, which is 520, and divide it by the total of the frequency. Sometimes these questions are a lot easier to explain when there's a bit of context, and 520 divided by 20 is 26, and we can see that 26 is somewhere between 0 and 50, so that does seem believable. Okay, so with this one here, they've done a lot of the work for us by already putting in the midpoints and creating a column, and this column here is for the frequency times midpoint, and you just need to remember that the estimated mean is this number here divided by this number here. And that is the end of section A. Okay, on to section B. So Ashley works in the school office, so we're comparing two orders. She needs to buy 29. The order on the right, that's nice and easy, but let's take a look at the left hand one. So best book bags. Okay, so when you get sort of an offer where stuff gets chucked in for free, it can be quite tricky. So let's work out how many you pay for, how many you get free, and the total. So if you buy 7, you get 1 free. If you pay for 14, you get 2 free. 21, 3, 28, 4. So that means if you pay for 7 and get 1 free, in total you've bought 8, 14 plus 2, 16, 24 and 32. Now, we're aiming for 29. So what we could do is we can pay for 21, get the 3 free to make 24, and then buy another 5 to make the 29. So that means we would pay for 21, plus the additional 5. So that will be, let's just make a note. So this is, okay, this would be 26 lots of 4.99. And what is 26 lots of 4.99? And that comes to £129.74. I'm just going to double check this offer here as well. Although this is more than we need, this could work out cheaper. So that just means we're paying for 28. Well, of course, 28 times 4.99 is definitely going to be more than 26 times 4.99. So yeah, let's not even bother doing that. That's a ridiculous thing to think. Okay, let's try the other one, which is bags and stuff. So I'll put B and S. So that's going to be, again, how many were we buying? It was 29, I believe. 29 multiplied by £4.25 plus £3.90 for the delivery charge. 29 times £4.25 comes to 123.25 plus £3.90. That comes to £127.15. So not a lot in it, but we can see that bags and stuff is a little bit cheaper. So it was called bags and stuff. Okay, bags and stuff is cheaper. There we go. And maybe just make it clear, £127.15 compared to £129.74. Done. Okay, this is quite a challenging question. So what you need to do first of all is work out the volume of the cylinder or volume of the jug, and this is full. Now the volume is going to be the cross section, which is a circle, pi r squared multiplied by the height, pi r squared h. So that's 3.14 for pi times the radius, which is 7, times 7 again, times by 25, and that comes to 384. Oops, why am I putting a decimal point there? 3846.5. Now we want 3/5 of this because it's only going to be 3/5 full. So what is 3/5 of 3846.5? Well, the calculation is 3846.5 divided by the number on the bottom times the number on the top. So divide by 5 times by 3, and that comes to 2307.90, and that is cubic centimetres. Now I'm going to turn that into litres by dividing by 1,000. 2307.9 divided by 1,000 equals 2.3079 litres, and that's per jug. Now we want 40, we've got 40 jugs, it says in the question, so that's 40 lots, not 46, 40 times 2.3079, which is 92.316 litres needed. Okay, so this is the amount of liquid we need to fill those jugs, and the water's flowing out at 13 litres per minute. Can we do it in 6 minutes? Well, what is 13 times by 6? 13 times by 6 is 78 litres. So the answer is no. In 6 minutes you can only get 78 litres, and 92.316 is needed. Done. Okay, question 8a. We've been given this formula to convert Fahrenheit into Celsius. So I want to convert 75 degrees from Fahrenheit into Celsius. That's 5/9 of 75 take away 32. And so let's do the brackets first. 75 take away 32 is 43. So we want 5/9 of 43. So that's 43 times 5 divided by 9, or 43 divided by 9 times 5, same thing, and that is 23.8. Less than 26 degrees. Right, let's try it with 80. Let's do 5/9 of 80 take away 32. So that's going to be 5/9 of 80 take away 32 is 48. So divide that by 9, times it by 5, I get 26.6 degrees Celsius. Okay, so we can see that it's at 9 a.m. because 80 degrees is above 26 degrees Celsius. So the answer here is 9 a.m. Okay, so straight away I'm seeing a ratio. I'm turning the ratio into fractions, 3 over 5 and 2 over 5 fifths, because 3 plus 2 is 5. So 3 fifths of 90 is the number of adults in the pool, and 2 fifths of 90 is the number of kids in the pool. 3 fifths of 90, that is the same as 90 divided by 5, divided by the number on the bottom, times by the number on the top, and 90 divided by 5 multiplied by 3 is 54. And we'll do the same thing over here. 90 divided by 5 times by 2 is 36. 54 plus 36, just check. Oh yeah, it makes 90. Okay, so we know that there are 36 children, and we need 1 lifeguard for every 10. So the question is, do we need 3 lifeguards or 4? Well, we will need 4, because the first 10 children need 1 lifeguard, the second 10 children need a lifeguard, the third 10 children need a lifeguard, and those 6 extra children, even though there's not 10, they'll need an additional lifeguard as well. We could chuck another 4 children in as well to keep it legal, but yeah, 4 lifeguards is certainly more than enough. So 4 is the right answer. Okay, so question number 9. So what we need to do is to work out the new costs. So I'll write here new. So straw is going to go from 25 to 0. Feed is increasing by 1/6. Okay, so 39 divided by 6. So what is 1/6 of 39? That's £6.50. So what I need to do is add £6.50 to 39, so that's £45.50. Electricity is costing 324 a year, so per month that's 324 divided by 12. Okay, so 324 divided by 12, that is 27. And oh, that is just the increase. So I need to add the 27 to the 68, and that gives me 95. And the vets is just this amount per year, so per month is 3,090 divided by 12. So that is going to be 257.50. So probably should write some of these workings out down here, because the examiner is going to be looking out for it. So 3,090 divided by 12, £257.50. Okay, I'm just kind of trying to write my workings out here so that I'm not scrolling backwards and forwards the whole time. So I'm going to compare the old costs to the new costs. So I'm going to add the 25, 39, 68 and 235 together, and that comes to 367. And the new costs, if I add all of these together, comes to 398. Okay, now the charity receives a new monthly donation of £30 a year, so £367 plus that £30 takes you to £397. So is it enough to pay for the increase in costs? No. The donation will be, what's the best way to phrase it? The donation is not, it's just not enough to cover the increase in costs. You could say another £1 is needed to cover the costs. That's probably a few too many words for a relatively simple answer there. There we go. Okay, so question 9b, this is the amount that was deposited in the bank, so £245,000, and every year it increases by 1.2%. So for this question you need to have a good understanding of percentage multipliers. If you want to work out 1.2% of an amount, the multiplier is 0.012. It's this figure, it's the decimal equivalent of this percentage, it's this number here divided by 100. Now this isn't the multiplier we're using either, because this is the multiplier I would use if I want to work out 1.2% of this total. I don't want to work out 1.2%, I want to increase by 1.2%. So what I need to do is add 1 to this multiplier, and that is the multiplier for the increase. So I'm multiplying 245,000 by 1.012 twice, because this is happening at the end of each year and is after 2 years. So there's our final calculation, and that comes to £250,915.28. The new building will cost £250,000. Is there enough money? Yes. There is enough money. I'll just write the figure again, 250,915.28, and we're done. Okay, so question 9C. We've got a scatter graph here. Describe the relationship between average night temperature and number of hedgehogs. Well, we can see as the temperature is increasing, the number of hedgehogs being rescued is lower. We can see that there's negative correlation. If I were to draw a line of best fit, it would be going down. You could say there's negative correlation, but that's not really describing the relationship between these two things. So I would say as temperature increases, the number of hedgehogs rescued decreases. That's it, as simple as that. Okay, so for this question, what we need to do is we need to draw in a line of best fit. So now this is going to be a lot easier for you than it is for me. What we need to do is draw a line that cuts through the centre draw a line that goes through the middle of the data, trying to keep the dots as close as possible to the line and trying to make sure there's more or less the same number above the line as there is below. Now you can line it up with your ruler, make sure you've got the ruler exactly where you're happy with before you draw the line. I'm just going to have to freestyle it, and this could go horribly wrong, so let's just give it a go. Right, that's not hideous. It's not brilliant. It's also not straight. The line's too thick. With a sharp pencil, you can do a much better job than that. Now, we were looking for how many more were sorry. Okay. So week A is -2 and week B is 4. So what I need to do is get an estimate for -2 degrees and 4 degrees. So here's -2 degrees. So I'm going to go up and see where it hits the line, and it hits the line there, which conveniently is just one above 35. So that is 36 rescues in week A. And for week B, which is 4 degrees, go up from 4 and we go across to 16. Now, it's possible that you might have got a slightly different number than 36 and 16. That's totally okay, because people will draw different lines of best fit. As you can see, mine's not brilliant. It's not even straight. But you can see what I'm doing here. So what is the difference? The difference is 30. Do I need to work out the difference? How many more hedgehogs were rescued in week 8? Well, that's just the difference. So 36 take away 16, which is, of course, 20. Okay, for question 10A, what I'm going to do is work out how many washes we're going to use with the powder. So the powder, 65 grams per wash. So how many 65s go into 3,900? So 3,900 divided by 65, that works out as 60 washes. And the liquid, similar calculation, 1540 divided by 35 gives me only 44 washes. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, well, David says I can do at least 32% more washes with the powder than the liquid. Okay, so if I increase 44 by 32%, will that take me above 60? Okay, so I want to increase 44 by 32%. So that is the question now. Increase 44 by 32%. Now the multiplier for 32% is 0.32, but for an increase I need to add 1 to this figure. So it's going to be 44 multiplied by 1.32, and 44 times by 1.32 comes to 58.08 washes. So 68 washes is greater than 58, of course. So yes, David is correct. There we go. All the working has already justified our answer, in my opinion. So there we go. David is correct, because 60 washes is greater than 58.08, which is 32% more than 44. Okay, so for this question, what I'm going to do is going to work out the area of the patio. So the patio area is the full rectangle, so 11 multiplied by 10 minus the lawn, which is a quarter circle. So that is a quarter pi r squared. So 11 times 10 is 110. I'm going to take away 0.25 multiplied by pi, which is 3.14, times by the radius, which is 3 squared, or 3 times 3. So that's 110. Take away 7.065. So therefore the area of the patio is 102.935 square meters. Now a bottle of cleaner does 15 meters squared, so how many 15 meter squareds are there in this number? 102.935 divided by 15 comes to 6.8623 recurring bottles. Now of course you can only buy one bottle, 2, 3, it's got to be a whole number, so we'll say that that's approximately 7 bottles. Well, we'll have to buy 7 bottles, it just means that 7th bottle will have a tiny bit left over. So the final calculation is 7 lots of the £1.95, and 7 times by 1.95 is £13.65. And on to the final question. Okay, so first of all, half a pint of vinegar is going to be 568 ml divided by 2. So that's 284 ml of vinegar. That's how much he's put in. Now that might not be enough. We need 45% of 700. So the calculation is 0.45 times 700. 0.45, that's the percentage multiplier for 45%. It's this number here divided by 100, and that is 315 millilitres of vinegar needed. Given that we've already poured in 284, the rest is going to we need to pour in a tiny bit more, which is the difference between these two figures. 315 minus 284 is 31 ml of vinegar. And of course, if we want 315 millilitres of vinegar to make 700 millilitres of cleaning spray, then 700 minus that 315 will tell me the amount of water, and that is 385 ml of water. There we go. So vinegar, 31, it does say make sure you put in the units, 31 millilitres, and water, 385 millilitres. And that takes us to the end of the assessment.